Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and here we have it. First game, first series of the LAN Finals, OG versus No Diggity. I'm OD Pixel, I'm here with Draskell, of course, and we're ready to go. Let's get ourselves into the game. And Andy, well, what have we got here? No Diggity indeed. They're running this dual-core lineup of both the Naga Siren and the Tiny. I mean, obviously two heroes that both of the players are comfortable on. Why are they doing it this game, and why against OG's lineup?
I think the Tiny is pretty much just the answer to the hero. They needed to help create some space for Quakeva to actually get online. Because if you look at what OG have, they definitely have the potential to push before Quakeva can really get anything accomplished, which I think the panel kind of already stated. But giving Tiny to Era means, you know, this Phoenix, Earth Spirit, and to a lesser extent the other heroes in OG can actually be killed quite easily. It's like OG will be able to secure that top. But keep in mind, No Diggity's lineup is still very execution heavy for the first 10 to 15 minutes. If they get kind of stomped in their lanes, or if OG get the ball rolling, it's going to be very difficult for OG to stop it.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see as well how these two teams do play up against each other. Obviously, at the recent LAN, we didn't get the chance to see this matchup at Epicenter. OG, of course, making it to that high spot, getting to number 3. Whereas No Diggity were unable to make it past the wildcard stages. We'll see how the matchups will go and the laning situation that we've got. So we're having this very aggressive lane of this Night Stalker Darkseid combination. I mean, this can't be fun for a Juggernaut.
Oh god,
this
no.
is
This
pretty
isn't
scary
fun for anyone, Owen. This is just the nightmare. Two extremely durable heroes at the low level, like 6 and 5 base armor respectively between Kezu and Yamsar. So they can just pretty much do whatever they want down here. They can more or less run rampant. And I think that's why they're just having Crit sit in the top lane. Because they realize that even with the Earth Spirit down here, the likelihood that they can get a kill before the Earth Spirit hits like level 2 or 3 is fairly low. So they're trying to split the experience in a way to where Fly and Crit both get something. And then once, you know, the Earth Spirit gets a couple of levels, he might rotate.
I see already. I mean, Fly, he's in a lot of trouble here. This man, no dive available. They'll chase him down with the Iron Shell, and this could be very close to first blood. One more fight and they'll do it here. No Diggity starting the game off with a bit of a bang as Yabzor claims that one for the side. And this is going to be the issue of this bottom lane. The question is, in return, are OG finding kind of better things happening elsewhere? I mean, the mid lane matchup, 9 for 2 against 5 for 0. Miracle is having the better time. And then that top lane, of course, the off lane Lone Druid. Looks like he's been alright. He's been able to find some XP at the moment. Moon already halfway through level 2, but they've got to be finding stuff elsewhere because this bottom lane is not going to be ideal.
And it's not like they have heroes that are necessarily great at rotating. So that's like the one thing that No Diggity have on them in the early game, is OG's laning phase is fairly static. Like Dragon Knight, Lone Druid, and Juggernaut, these heroes don't really move around too much. Like maybe No Tail can rotate with a TP scroll once he hits like 5 or 6, you know, throughout a spin or whatever. But for the most part, it's going to be No Diggity doing most of the lane dominating, and gonna have to look to Crit really, I think, to help alleviate some of this laning situation when the opportunity presents itself. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, Crit at the moment, he is heading towards that top lane. We'll see if he's able to find some action with the help of Moon, and also the rotation of Flyers, because he's come up here on the Phoenix. So leaving No Tail on his own. Obviously, you're still gonna have trouble finding the CS, but we'll get that solo XP. I mean, saying that though, he is 10 for 1, so regardless of how aggressive No Diggity are playing, No Tail is still finding something down there.
It's one thing to be said for Juggernaut, though, in the safe lane when you know that you're going to be playing against predominantly magic damage dealers during the early game, because you can just spin anytime you're in a dangerous situation. It's just really, really easy for him to escape. So if they like void him or whatever and there's an Ion Shell, he can just spin, walk it off. And in that regard, it's really more about, I think, pressuring the Phoenix, which is why Fly has just decided to completely evacuate the lane. Like now he's just walking around No Diggity's jungle, just saying, okay, I can't really do anything here.
I've got to say as well, this mid lane, it is not looking good for Quakeva. I mean, Miracle, he is ahead, and by quite a bit as well, 3 minutes in, 20 for 6 against the 13 for 0. I mean, not really a matchup that we see every day, especially in this patch, the DK versus the Naga Siren, but is this kind of expected for a DK to have the edge?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I think with the new buff to Breathe Fire and obviously Dragon Blood also getting a buff recently, it's really hard for any melee to deal with the DK. He even got base damage on top of both of those things, so he has been one of those heroes that kind of went under the radar for a while, but he's received buffs multiple patches in a row, and now we're kind of seeing the strength of him here.
Soaring down now on Kezu, so they continue to just cut the lane, put as much pressure as they can onto No Tail, but so far he's been dealing with it very, very well. Oh, Quakeva gonna run as a Crit around the Illusion Rune, but nothing either of them can do really to jump on each other on their own. We did see Yapzor heading over just in case they were able to find a lead in, but no points in net yet for Koikva, so doesn't have any kind of setup. But yeah, at this point, it really does feel that it's OG's rotations that we're looking for. At the same time, I guess 4.5 minutes in, it is night time. Yapzor himself is starting to move around the map a little bit more. He's going to spot out Fly here. We'll see if he can lead it into anything with the Crippling Fear into the Void. Fly will go for the TP out. They've got a glimpse down. Fly. It's going to be the second death once again. On the side of OG as no Diggity picked themselves up something here. I mean, we're just seeing the fact that at night time, the Night Stalker is going to be a little bit more impactful with the rotations compared to a Phoenix.
Well, not just that, but I mean, Fly has 31 experience to his name.
Yeah,
he's
having a very hard game. I mean, what's the reason? Is this just purely the laning from Diggity?
Yeah,
he just really screwed him up.
He actually has nowhere to go. That's really the biggest issue. We're going to see a roll here, not connect on Kezu in the bottom lane. Not sure if it would have resulted in a kill anyway. Guess there was a Mango and potentially an Omni coming in from No-Tail, but Kezu does need to be a little bit careful. But in regards to what Fly can actually do, I think he's actually just waiting for towers to start dropping, so maybe a lane potentially opens up somewhere else. Because if he doesn't start getting some experience, it's going to be really painful. Yeah, you can get the tome or whatever, but I think he needs to start leeching a bit, and he's kind of doing it for Miracle in the middle lane right now. Because just having like one value point of Sunray is going to be great.
Ooh, a bit of a close call there. Yapzor nearly had the opening onto the Earth Spirit. With the Iron Shell and the Void Chaser, you know, level 3 Iron Shell, I mean, you are killing these supports. If you're Yapzor and you find them when you've got an Iron Shell on you, they're going down. Yeah,
you just get ran at.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing you can do. You really need some kind of peel mechanism like a stun, which really only the Dragon Knight has, and I guess Earth Spirit, you get lucky with an Entangle. Those are the ways that you can stop the Night Stalker from going in. But none of those things really are super scary, especially when it's night. Yapzor can easily dodge any kind of boulder smash. So you're going to have to hit him with an instant stun first to start things off, I think, to get a reliable combo on him.
And I mean, I know Yapzor did leave the lane at the end of the night, so, but I think this is, you know, you got to look at the fact that No-Tail, he's 32 for 2. Era is close as well. It's going to be interesting to see how much they can pick up the pace once Era gets his core items out on the Tiny. But still, that Miracle matchup, 44 for 12, is looking very, very good for the Dragon Knight. And of course, the way that the game's played at the moment, Dragon Knight is an incredibly strong hero. And if he has a start like this and he's being played by Miracle, it's got to be scary. Bottom lane, No-Tail. He's getting out of the Blade Fury. Cinderella, he's actually going to be able to find a follow-up glimpse, and they're going to be able to punish this one. And again, no Diggity finding themselves a third kill. And a really nice rotation for Cinderella, just enabling them to find the kill on the cores that matter.
Yeah, the warding so far from OG has not really left No-Tail any real protection. They just assume that with the spin, he'll most of the time be safe, and I think it was just because of the lack of the TP scroll that No-Tail wasn't really able to get himself out of that situation, because normally, you know, he had his Mango still. So he Mango spins, instantly TPs. No way no Diggity can stop it unless Era's there with a toss, but, you know, not having that, obviously you're going to die. So no lane ward defensively for him, kind of puts him in a bad spot, but it looks like they want to try to rotate potentially on this top lane. Going to send up 4 heroes, 2 smoked.
This will be a good chance to try and go for kill. We can already see that Moon on this lone druid has started to overtake Garen Farm, and here we go with the diving. Crypt gets the slow, kicks him back, and look at that beautiful Sunray from Fly with that Immortal. Very nice indeed. I think we found out why he wanted to play Phoenix this game. He just wanted to show that off, Andy.
It's pretty fancy.
It is.
I mean, the pushing speed of OG, especially considering Moon's already level 7, you know, he's got the Demolish going. So even though Diggity had a lot more damage built up onto the tier 1 bottom, their team is not really as good at clearing out the buildings. And I mean, in the meantime, they also lose the tier 1 mid. So it's a 2-tower for 1 trade, ultimately favoring OG in terms of map control and net worth. But they did end up getting at least 1 kill on No-Tail in the last couple of minutes or so. It's just still a lot of time necessary for Koikva to really start, you know, having some impact in this game. And OG are just starting to get to their timing.
I was going to say, at this point, it just really feels like both teams are finding something, and the OG is just finding more in terms of what they need to get done by a certain time. As you said with the Naga, you are looking to take it later, and OG already pushing onto a tier 2. They're going to find it, and we're only 8.5 minutes into a game, and a game as well where your Naga Siren hasn't had the best of starts in the mid lane up against a DK who's, you know, now clear 1k plus ahead of you in terms of net worth.
And it's probably going to get bigger in terms of net worth advantage for OG before it gets any smaller. But one thing you can look to for Diggity is the next night phase, obviously, is going to be very impactful. Cinderin, once he hits 6, you have a really nice setup with a Naga Siren Song into Static Storm, since you don't have to really, you can ground target all of the abilities, right? Kinetic Field and Static Storm both. So the setup is very easy. You just need to make sure that you land it. That considered, they are notorious for picking good high ground defense for the same reasons we just mentioned. They can defend tier 3s pretty well. It's just going to come down to the coordination and how much pressure OG actually want to apply. Because with this armlet purchase on Miracle, I feel like they want to try to get all the towers off the map sooner rather than later. You know, like 15 minutes or so, probably have all the tier 1s and tier 2s dead on the side of No Diggity and just keep them contained as long as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot afford to give Night Stalker the free reign of the map. And the question is, you know, they are going to go for that, as you suggested. What did No Diggity do to stop this one? You've got them knocking on the tier 2. How are you stopping this with your kind of lineup? You've obviously got very strong pick-off potential. But when it comes to just stopping a full-scale push from OG, it's not the easiest of things for No Diggity's lineup to do, especially when you've got an Arga, you know, hasn't got the song, there's no kind of setup to turn around, and now you're losing heroes at the back of it. Yapzor just getting Omni-slashed the hell down. And OG, I mean, at the start, they may have lost a few heroes. I mean, Fly died a couple of times, but at this point, Andy, it feels like it doesn't matter at all, because OG's game plan is really hitting into full momentum at this point.
Yeah, I mean, with that death, I think normally OG probably just back, but after having killed Yapzor, they just say, okay, let's get some value damage on this tier 3 tower. There's no glyph. They will lose Fly in the process, though. So he's going to get comboed in that bottom lane.
Plus, of course, that was a big kill as well, really, for the Tiny, because you look at Era, he's just about got his Blink Dagger done off the back of that. So, I mean, if Era can continue to find these pickoffs and find heroes from OG left behind, it's going to be great, but I just have a feeling that OG now, they're going to stick together as a group, and they're not going to allow that to happen. And at the end of the day, it is just Fly being picked off, whilst the rest of the team, you look at the net worth, Miracle's at the top, closely followed by Moon. They're exactly where they need to be on these heroes to 11 minutes into the game.
Yeah, but this is No Diggity making the right play. You know, they smoke up immediately after OG back. This is the highest likelihood that they will find heroes isolated. After OG finish pushing, there's no Dragon Knight ultimate up right now. There's no Omni Slash, at least for another minute. This is the highest chance that they would have of finding a pick. They're even going to pop the Darkness here. Maybe a bit premature. Scan's even going to scout out that there are some heroes in their woods, so nicely dodged here by OG. That really hurts No Diggity, the fact that they're not able to get anything from this. And even if they go on Miracle, like, he is so tanky, and he's got an Invis rune, so they're going to need detection if they want to kill him.
Do they want to try? That's the thing, as you said. They are aware it's not going to be an easy one, and they're going to lay off. They don't want to try and go for that. Same time, No-Tail finding the space up top. He's got the backup of Crit on the Earth Spirit, just in case anyone tries to make a jump on the Juggernaut. Do you see Kezu coming out? He's just dropping the shells, keeping it cool, TPing away. Still hanging around this mid lane, No Diggity. But they do need to find stuff happening. You know, we're in this night phase. Okay, now we're coming to the natural ones.
I mean, Quakevid's getting closer to his relic, you know. He's 2,800 gold right now. When the Radiance comes out, the game does kind of change a bit.
Yes.
He's probably going to need, you know, 1 or 2 items on top of that, but the Radiance itself allows you to push out the lanes a bit more reliably. You know, once he gets the boots of travel, that means you're going to be able to push him out even farther. You have the mobility factor. OG don't necessarily have amazing catch. It's pretty much just the Earth Spirit. And, you know, if Miracle decides he wants to go back for a Shadow Blade, then that could be another way. Looks like the scan's going to just barely miss here from No Diggity. Not going to be able to scout out Miracle in the area, but they're starting to back now. And this is the position that No Diggity don't want to be in. They don't want to be letting OG mount their push without having taken a fight prior to that. Because once the siege starts, it becomes infinitely harder to stop. You know, you have the Dragon Knight ultimate form. You have to worry about like Sunray and Healing Ward, keeping everyone topped up. It's just a huge pain, which is why when they smoke, they do it after OG back, because then they realize that there's a higher chance that they would actually be split up instead of all together.
Incineroar maybe the one to tank the gank here. Yeah, no messing. No messing from No-Tail. Straight in with the slash, and here we go. Immediately getting the push on. I don't have a creep wave, so I won't be able to really push on for the tier 2, but the tier 1 at least. I'll be able to tank that one up here with the help of the Healing Ward, and the pushing power of Miracle on the DK. That's going to be more gold in the back. At the same time, No Diggity, they are able to find something in return, or at least attempt to. Trying for the tier 1 here. See if they get away with it, or OG want to react. And already a TP into the tier 2 from Fly. For the rest of OG hanging back on this bottom lane. But 3 for 4, 14 minutes in. As you said, yeah, it's all about Quakevid's Radiance. If he gets the Radiance, we know we're in it for the long haul, or at least potentially. But at the rate that OG are going, Diggity need to be careful. He's just about got that money for the relic done now.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if anybody on OG decides to buy a pipe. Like, if anyone did it, I guess it would have to be Miracle. But if you have a pipe, and they try to go for like the song setup and a static storm, I think the pipe negates pretty much all of the damage that they deal. That would be a really nice item for going for an earlier high ground, but I think it's maybe a bit more likely that Miracle just goes to standard. Like maybe he goes BKB, maybe he goes Shadow Blade. Both of those items are really solid when you have the kind of map control advantage that OG are currently holding on to. But very curious about how they're looking at this game because they do have Midas on Moon, which is important to note. Like he went Midas before Radiance, and he's got, you know, a little bit less money in terms of how close he is to the Relic, because the Relic was just picked up by Quick a second ago. But he probably will out farm just because of the fact that they have the majority of the map control if they just wait it out. So do they want to wait for their own Radiance timing before they go for the high ground itself? Because it seems like they have a couple of people grouped up in bottom and they may want to try to do this. Oh, he actually goes mech. Okay. So kind of like getting a pipe. It's a cheaper option. Still gives you... I think he's done this before, actually. He did this Epicenter, right?
Yeah, I believe he did. I believe he was the DK that picked up the mech.
So it's kind of in the same note. The mech is the more team-oriented item faster because the regular hood only costs like 17.25, but finishing the full pipe is quite a bit more. Whereas mech gives you, I guess, more bang for your buck in terms of team fight contribution.
Yeah, and I guess with the way that this game's going, there's not really anyone else on the team that's going to have the mech in time for what you want it for. Having it at this point it's such a big step up for the team fights in comparison to just waiting for one of the supports to pick it up. Savage Roar there, just used to fend no Diggity offers. They are coming into the jungle. They do want to try and catch someone out here with this Night Stalker Disruptor combo between the two of them, Yapso and Sin. Let's get the vision on Miracle, and then we'll get the glimpse of. Let's see if they can kill him. Straight back into the Static Storm, Miracle. He's going to have some backup, and this is the problem. You're bringing the DK, but you're not killing him. As Miracle walks it off.
I mean, with Armlet on and Strength Treads, he has like, what, 1700 health? And he didn't even pop his mech. He was just kind of waiting it out. Now, if Era had been a bit closer and they get a stun toss combo, then maybe we're looking at a different situation. And not having buyback could have even been a tier 2 there for no Diggities. So just not everyone in the right position at the right time.
Going in onto crit. I mean, that's a freebie. We know that they could just burst down the sports. It's just the fact that the cores are very hard to kill. Lundra with the Savage Roar, DK with just his natural tankiness, and the fact that when you're looking for those glimpse pick-offs, No-Tail's going to be able to Blade Fury out of them. This is kind of the beauty of the 3-core lineup that OG have against No Diggity's pick-offs.
Yeah, but it's really big for them that they get a pick into a tower.
Yeah.
Like, getting objectives is their team when they kind of need to stay ahead. That's something very integral to their success. You know, how much time can they buy for Quakefight? He's got his Radiance now. He just got enough money for the recipe, but he's waiting for the courier, I guess. It's not quite in base at the moment. And he could even think that saving for buyback might be the play here, because
over the Radiance?
Yeah, because OG are coming up here in 4, so if he dies once, even if he like purchases the Radiance, alright, he's just gonna buy it anyway. I guess like either way, it's a rough situation, because this tower is dying really fast. You either have buyback and no Radiance, or you have Radiance, and if you die once, you probably just lose double racks.
See what they do. You've got this Radiance Naga. The question is, do OG care that much about it? Power's gone. Absol with the Void, looking at Miracle, but he's got the Sunray Heal, and he's still got that mech. You've got to remember, Dragon Talons us in. Era jumps in with the combo. Miracle, he just continues to stand there, hitting away the stun onto 2. Quakefa, open the song. Let's see if they can follow through with any kind of setup. Cinderin has already used that Static Storm, of course. Vacuum wall onto 4, but the Supernova comes through the Omni Slash as well. The Illusion Snapshot here on the side, and he's down. So OG just reacting immediately to the play that No Diggity looked for. The question is, can they actually still come back in? Miracle still kind of taunting them. Era jumps in with the combo. Okay, Miracle maybe getting a little too cocky there. He'll pay with his life. Can they find anything more? That's the question. Nice stuff from Crit holding them back, but they'll continue to chase. Glimpse back onto No-Tail. They should be able to find the Juggernaut. I'll say that. That's the toss to do so, and a double kill for Era. So, the question is, can they get anywhere? Era? He may not be done. He may not be done. He's looking for Moon. They've actually found Fly. Kezu was able to finish that off. Savage Roar buys the space for Crit to get out. But, oh, they got the vision for the glimpse, and Moon, he's going to go down as well. And OG, well, that was nothing less than a throw, Andy. They didn't get the racks. They lose all 3 cores, plus a Phoenix. And it cost No Diggity 1 buyback.
That was the strength of the sleep setup and the Darkseer combo, honestly. Just imagine if Cinderin had Static Storm for that as well. Like, I think he dropped it on Miracle at the beginning of the push.
Yeah.
They would have just crushed them if they had Static Storm for that, because it was 4 heroes inside of the kinetic field. They just didn't have too much follow-up, but also showcasing the strength of a Disruptor when you're chasing heroes away. You know, you get the vision, you get a free glimpse onto anyone else who's running away after the push is over, and you just guarantee yourself, you know, a bonus kill. And that ended up happening, what, 2 times there, I think? The chase was so long, there was time for 2 glimpses, one on No Tail, and then one on Moon.
Yes, on the, on Era. No, not on Era. On Moon.
Yeah.
That's the boy.
Yeah, the old lone druid. So, all things considered, fantastic defense coming in from No Diggity.
Oh, really good.
Most important, Quakeva has time. Because after killing all those heroes, you know, OG might be feeling a little bit more apprehensive about going high ground like that again. Especially considering they only have a couple more minutes until Glyph is up. Like 2 minutes and 30 seconds is not that long. So if, for whatever reason, they decide to mount another push, No Diggity are going to have pretty much all of their ultimates available. And now OG kind of have to question, you know, what's the next goal? Do we try to win a fight and then maybe go for Roshan first before we try to breach the high ground? Because their team is okay at doing Roshan, but it doesn't necessarily kill it super fast. They just have an amazing amount of sustain with the Sun Ray and the healing word.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it feels like as well, if they do go for another push like that, they were in a good place. So obviously losing that one fight, it's not the end of the day, end of the game. But if they do that again, as you said, the fact that there is this Naga Siren, Quakeva, this is the exact kind of game you like to play in it as a Naga Siren game. It was where the team seems to be frustrated. They're trying to finish something off against you, and they're just unable to. I mean, now they've got the Radiance on Moon's Bear. This is going to add a lot to the fight, and maybe this will give them kind of the confidence to try and break the high ground again. But losing fights like that, it's only going to get harder for OG. With the Echo Saber now done on Tiny, and the way that Era's been playing, we know that he can find these backliners, pick them off in a couple of punches, and suddenly the team fight, it's not looking nearly as formidable as that of No Diggity's with that song set up. And as you said, next time, if they do have the Static Storm to follow through, it's very scary for OG.
Especially the supports. Like, Crit and Fly need to be the most careful, I think, about those combinations. Because, you know, Miracle's building himself in a way where he can kind of tank the damage. But the rest of OG, I mean, even No Tail, if he gets caught out by the stun before he's ready, will probably just die. So here comes OG with the smoke. The scan actually kind of backfiring here from No Diggity. They realize that OG are in the area, but they assume that they're smoked up looking for a fight. But instead, after not having found the engagement, I think No Diggity are probably going to go for a counter smoke. I think they're just waiting for everyone to get there. But Era's still pushing top. If he shows with this creep wave, it's going to give OG the information they need to feel confident finishing up. So a little bit of a misplay here from No Diggity, just not going for the Roshan fight. Maybe they feel that they can defend, even if there's an Aegis. I don't know about
defending an Aegis push, that sounds pretty hard for No Diggity.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall order. But if they can synergize their ultimates correctly, I think that they might have enough to be able to do it.
Well, we can see at the moment, Ping's coming out towards the top as No Diggity. They're going to continue this push. They're hanging around. Looks like they just want to start to set up Cinnamon. He is, of course, working towards that Aghanim's first on this Disruptor. That's going to be very nice against this lineup. Especially a DK that, I guess, maybe building the BKB down the line. Looks like Pipe's going to go the way of Fly this game as he picks up the hood. So eventually they will have the Pipe. Just doing everything that they can, OG, to strengthen their push at this stage of the game.
I think the going for the pipe on the DK probably would have, like, in hindsight, been a little bit better. Because the mech is easier. Oh, okay. See you later, Crit.
Oh, I mean, Echo Saber. Yeah. That's beautiful, really.
Yeah, he just got spotted. But in regards to the mech versus the pipe on the DK and the Phoenix, it's easier for the Phoenix to get to the mech than it is for the Phoenix to get to the pipe. And Miracle could have had pipe when they were pushing high ground top lane. And maybe, you know, Era's combo doesn't kill him. The 400 damage absorption plus the 10% extra reduction on the aura can help a lot when you're trying to breach high ground. I think that might be a little thing that they can look to and say, like, okay, maybe we could have actually high grounded here if we had a little bit of a different item build. But, you know, OG is still looking pretty okay. They're behind a bit in kills. The Naga Siren is always going to be that kind of fallback mechanism for No Diggity. Makes OG think, okay, we kind of need to push the pace a bit. But, I mean, in the ultra late game, there are 3 extremely durable cores on OG.
I mean, that is the thing. Yeah, it's not as if it's one of those lineups that you go, all right, well, you know, Naga's going to win this if it goes post 40 minutes. It's, yeah, as you said, you look at OG, the fact that No Tail's picked up a Battle Fury, so he's going to be able to keep up his farm pace as well. You have got a lone Druid who, you know, with the Radiance, he himself is going to be 6-12 slotted at some point in the game. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. And yeah, indeed, if No Diggity, as we're seeing so far, can hold the game on, if they're actually going to have that window where they can close it up and win it with this Naga tiny lineup.
Radiant's bottom tower
yeah, it's a close game for sure. One mistake, though, from No Diggity, and OG
yeah,
will just destroy your base. And here comes the Vlads here on Moon, so they have almost every single teamfight utility they need.
Look at this wraparound as well. I mean, if they can find an opening.
He wants the Phoenix to the Earth Spirit era. That's what they're looking for.
They need to have they need to get the song into the setup that we saw before with the static storm. But Aaron now he jumps straight in, looking for the combo onto crit. Will eliminate the Earth Spirit from the fight. Miracle still on the front lines, and oh, he just set up. Oh, wait, did he use? Oh, he wasted it. Oh no, Kezu!
It's still okay, it's still okay.
Okay, yeah, here we go as they drop down the sidelines. They've got the combo onto Fly. He's stuck at the static storm. They'll find themselves a second. Question, can they get anything more here? Miracle trying to turn up fight. They've got an Omni Slash as well coming through from No-Tail. Kezu surges up, tries to run. They do get themselves out of there. They're 2 for 1 and they lose the racks. Can they kill Miracle? That's the question. They'll drop the net down, but Miracle with the armlet toggling, he doesn't care at this point. Still stands his ground. No-Tail moving in with the Blade Fury, trying to catch out Quite but he's too speedy there. Gets himself away on the Naga Siren. Jump 4 from Kezu. See what he can chase. Era still on the sidelines. He's low on health, but he has got that combo if he wants to go balls in. Get himself onto No-Tail Moon. Ah, nice toss. Onto the headed Jug. And again, no Diggity. They are forcing them out of the base, but this time OG got the objective that they were looking for. They managed to clear out a set of racks.
Yeah, they just needed to be a couple of seconds faster on the wraparound. Like, they were waiting to see a support. Crit or Fly are both great options for Air to jump on because they don't have the health necessary to be able to survive the combo with Yapzor being with them. And not only that, but they contribute quite a bit to the team, right? Like, not having to deal with Magnetize there was huge. Cinderin a little bit late on the kinetic field when they had the song out. I think he could have potentially hit 2 heroes with the Static Storm kinetic field combo. But I don't know if his field was up or not. I didn't actually look at the cooldown when I saw the song actually popped originally. But all in all, you know, they hold kind of. But OG, if they get another set of racks, the Naga is pretty much going to have to spend the entire game pushing out those 2 lanes, which means, you know, less income. The other core Era, he's building for more of a fighting, mid-game centric kind of Tiny, which is fine. But when you lose your Raxes and you're going for this mid-game build, then the mid-game build doesn't really do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to prevent OG from getting to this stage.
And OG now ready to continue for more. Miracle not being held back by that kinetic field. He just sits there on the sidelines, take it down to tier 3. What can they do to stop this? Diggity they already used. The song in the last fight still down at the moment, and look at the backup. Fly just healing up Miracle with the Sunray. He stands there front line. Kezu comes in with the back in. The wall drops as well, but No-Tail getting the Blade Fury out. Miracle BKBs and walks it off. Turns his attention towards Yapzor. They're trying to take down the Night Stalk. He's a little bit too tanky though. Back up to the high ground, and here's the setup. Sind.
No Static Storm.
Oh no. It is just a field, so it's not going to be the big wombo that they were hoping for. It's just holding back OG, but OG still ready to move in. Miracle, he just waltzes through the wall. He doesn't even give a damn about the illusions at this point. Kezu jumps in, but he gets Dragon-tailed. They'll turn his attention towards him and they'll take down the Darkseer. He's dead for 50 seconds. The mid-racks are falling, and OG are slowly but surely doing it here. And no Diggity with this Naga lineup, trying to do their best to hold on. They need to find some kills at the back of it. They glimpse back Miracle, but they just haven't got the damage to deal with it. You see the Bear chasing down Sinner, and already incredibly low thanks to the Radiance burn. Yapzor need to go in. Then they blink in, and the toss back onto Miracle, bringing him in. But you just brought him food on a platter. He just turns and kills Cinder, and the silence now on Terra. He's got to run back. And Diggity at the moment with 3 heroes down, 2 racks eliminated. It looks to be the inevitable coming into play here, and they're just not able to hold off OG's push at this stage of the game, 27 minutes in.
You know, No Diggity were doing a fairly good job at kind of causing some pressure, making sure that OG didn't have a super easy laning phase, but all things considered, I think they just gave him a little bit too much in the way of heroes that could actually push. So like DK, Juggernaut, Lone Druid together,
it's such a
that's a hard push to stop any day of the week. And it's not even like No Diggity lost the laning phase super hard. The only lane that I guess you could say that they didn't have a great time in was mid, and that's because DK versus other melee is very strong. So the last set of racks is going to be very difficult to defend. A lot of the time, Quakefa is going to have to be spending, you know, putting his mirror image and whatever in mid and top to make sure that they're not just constantly pushing in. And this gives OG all the breathing space in the world. Like, sure, Naga Siren can make it stretch out a little bit longer, but the problem with that is you're actually just taking away farm from the other heroes. And you're Naga Siren with 4 other heroes in your team that actually just want to fight. They don't want to go super late. They just want to fight stuff. Especially with the build that Era had opted for this game. Like, he's sitting on 3,400 gold. And I don't even know what item you buy on Tiny in a situation that's going to be, like, a huge help to you. Like, you kind of want BKB, but you kind of don't, because you have to be able to kill the other 3 cores. You kind of want, like, an Aghanims to farm a bit, but at the same time, that's not really going to help you in the fight too much. It's just a really rough spot for No Diggity right now.
It really is. We can see as well, AC nearly done for Moon. He's closing in on that one, so you add that to this push. Even scarier. Manta on No-Tail, Yules on crit for the setups, and to help him if he gets caught out by some of the silences. If Yapso tries to make a beeline for the Earth Spirit on the back lines, kind of like he has been doing. And just to avoid this Era combo, if they're aware of the blink him. As you said, Era's got a lot of money, and it's just going to be interesting to see what he goes for off the back lines. I mean, surely, is it not just a game to pick up the Aghanim, so you've got that kind of D push as well on the Tiny?
I mean, it's good, but I think the thing that's most concerning for No Diggity is they want to be able to win a fight before OG get to their base. So there are these types of lineups where they're a lot weaker when obviously they're not ready for an engagement. Look at top lane. Even though they lost the racks, you could see the idea behind it. If they did it faster and they killed crit before the fight starts and OG aren't already sieging, they probably walk away with that team fight with a pretty handedly win, and they're just like, okay, sweet, we didn't lose any racks there. But because the timing was a little bit off, you know, there's just no margin for error. They will find the bear here, bottom lane. But after you've already lost 2 sets of racks against the style of team that OG have, they can pretty much just throw their bodies at your bottom lane until it's dead. Like, that's the real concern. And because of the fact that there are tier 2s in, you know, mid and top lane for OG, it's not even like No Diggity can just immediately counter pressure. No one has boots of travel. No one can go back to that lane once it's pushed out except for Koikfa. And Koikfa ain't going to kill the towers that fast. So, yeah, if they had only 1 set of racks down, I'd say this game would be pretty easily doable, honestly, for No Diggity, given the Naga Siren. But with 2 sets, it's a little bit different.
A lot of lines being furiously drawn on them out there by Miracle. Looks like he wants to get the gang moving. To continue for some plays, and with the AC picked up on Moon, there's no reason not to. We've seen them being able to do it before without that item. The question is, No Diggity, they picking up items at a rate quick enough to be able to stop this. They'll go for the smoke up. And just looking at Tiny, yeah, the Era's still yet to spend his gold. 4.6k on the Tiny. Quake, he's close to the Octarine. It's just about 2/3, well no, yeah, about 1/3 through the missing stuff. Yapso, I mean, this is the problem, getting caught out outside the base. OG, they're the ones finding the pickoffs here. Night Stalker, I mean, he's a tanky brute. He's almost certainly soon to be a very dead one as well. And I mean, this could have been any perfect timing. Roshan as well for OG. So with the AC, with the Aegis, I mean, the next push is it's going to be pretty much do or die for No Diggity. If they don't hold it off, it's going to be game.
I mean, it's AC Vlad's on OG with pipe and mech. That is everything that you need besides drums, I guess. I don't think anyone actually has drums.
Can they go for the big play here with the song?
I think they got to. All right, they're going to scout it out.
Yeah. Can they do something here? They have got the combo. See, here we go. Oh, Kezu! He has indeed Cliff Miracle. Still, he's going to get kicked down by Crit and Miracle. Okay, they're just going to turn and fight. There's the song finally coming out, but it's after the BKB on this DK, so Kezu has to run. He will manage to escape, and they're just trying to TP out Sinner, and he's not going to make it. A little bit too slow on the TP. He's dead. Roshan's back available. OG go in, and the combo wasn't there, and that is going to mean you're not going to have that song up for the defense when OG come in packing in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. I mean, they had kind of the right idea. I think it all goes back to just trying to stop OG getting the momentum with their 5-man and making sure that you're bringing the fight to them. Like, you can't really split push against this kind of team because they will just take objectives faster. You need to fight them directly, and you need to fight them before they're actually hitting objectives. And the thing is, that puts a lot of pressure on you, right? Because you're buying time for this Naga Siren, but you're going up against 3 ridiculously tanky cores. So even in a scenario where Quick is still farming very well, given the circumstances, the Radiance just doesn't really do that much. Like, yeah, you can push out the other lanes, but you can't actually stop OG's push.
Let's see what their answer is here on the bottom. Song of Siren, how long are we still waiting for that? It's still 50 seconds. Yeah, it's not going to be here at all for this one. Straight onto the tier 3 fortification coming out. No Diggity, what's the answer to this push? The question is, will they try and fight on against the threat? America creeps. If OG get away with this, well, they're going to move in looking for the fight. Miracle, he's got BKB, he's got Aegis, he's got a Reaver, he's got a mech, he's got it all. He's got a healing wall behind him.
He doesn't care.
Look at the healing wall micro. He's trying to keep it alive, No-Tail, but they will take it out. Grit with the stun onto 2. Miracle just stands the high ground, takes down the melee racks. It's only a ranged racks between them and Mega Creeps, and there we have it. With the Omni Sash, vacuum, the combo from Ares, he jumps in. not going to find a kill, and Notel trying to stand and fight. Actually getting fairly low here. Needs to be a little bit careful. There's a lot of damage from Aaron with this Echo Saber. The double punches flying in, and they'll take down Notel. Miracle, he's still good to go. The root through's there. Yapzor's down as well as Sind. No buyback available on these two. And they're just going to call GG at this point. It's all too much, and OG pretty much playing to the level we'd expect. And Diggity, they tried their best, but it just wasn't. I don't know. Was it the draft, Andy, or was it just the fact that OG just played the better game?
I think OG had less margin for error. So between these two drafts, No Diggity have to execute very well. They need to make sure that they buy time for Quakefire. They need to win at least 2 out of 3 of their lanes. And they need to continually just kill people non-stop. Like, you don't pick the Night Stalker and go blink down a Tiny if you don't want to play an aggressive mid-game. And the problem is, as soon as they make mistakes, they're amplified so heavily because OG have an early mech up on the Dragon Knight. They have this Lone Druid who's level 7 very early on, so he has Demolished. They have Juggernaut with Healing Ward. They will just take every single one of your objectives before one of your primary cores is able to really contribute much. And I think that's really where it hurt No Diggity the most, is that every single time they make a mistake, it just impacts them so much more.
OG going to be feeling very confident with that one. And I feel as well, the good thing about this from the side of No Diggity is, this lineup isn't something we see them run every day. So they have got a lot of other tricks up their sleeves. You know what I mean? We're not going to see them do the same thing. They're going to come back with something different. The question is, how are OG going to react to it? Obviously, what they brought to the front here, it felt like OG just kind of read them like a book. And as you said, they just realized what they had to get done by a certain point. And it did really feel like, well, the 20-minute mark, it was like, okay, this is really OG's game to win. They're going to have to really screw up for OG to get back into it. There was that one failed push at the top that was kind of like, okay, you just lost a fight. Naga's now got the Radiance, but they needed a few more of those mess-ups. Otherwise, No Diggity were going to really struggle to get themselves back in the lead. So OG, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Take game 1 against the side of No Diggity. But don't go anywhere. We're going to have a short ad break, then back to the panel, and then we're back for game 2 of this series. We'll see you then.